Oh, we're filming? If you are interested in the metaphysical and the mystical side to life, stay tuned because I'm going to be talking about an awesome subject today that so many people had questions on, and now we're good to go. Before we get started, I would like to ask you to comment, subscribe, do what you need to do, put the bell on so that we can make sure that you are being alerted whenever I'm releasing new content. I want to make sure that I give you the best quality possible. This is actually my second take of the full recording. I recorded it somewhere else and I didn't do proper testing. I realized that there's just way too much echo. I've done that in one of my previous videos before, still released it. I was not happy with it, and I just cannot do that to you guys again. Like, no way, not doing it, not happening. The subject of the day is the process that people go through when they're going through an awakening. Number one, you feel this desire to be in isolation. You feel like to be alone, you feel like you need to do this inner growth that's happening within you. You're getting all these messages, whether it's like visions or like you hear this voice or like this inner knowing, or you just know, like everyone describes it a bit differently. And you just feel that you need to be alone. That is part of the growth process, and it's something you need to go through if you really want to excel during the awakening process to reach to the other side. Going through an awakening, it's like once you've experienced it, it's so phenomenal. It's a bit undescribable because it's not something available in the physical world where you can like see it or touch it. It's like something that just happens within you, and it's so difficult to explain it. And the only people that will truly understand what you are talking about are people that have also gone through an awakening, because they've been there and now they felt it. Imagine the feeling of love, being in love. Imagine that was something so rare. The only people you could explain it to, like as many people you try to explain it to, they don't understand. They're like, I don't know what you're talking about, because they haven't experienced it. There's no way for them to understand what it feels like because there's nothing that really describes it, so they wouldn't understand. But the truth of the matter is, there are movies, there are love songs, there's all these different things that even if you have not experienced love, those things allow you to know what it feels like. That's the kind of thing with an awakening too, is like when you're describing it, there's nothing really out there. There's no huge movies or like songs or whatever that really describes an awakening for people to understand it, even though they haven't experienced it. So the only people that understand it again are people that have gone through an awakening themselves. Another thing that you experience when going through an awakening is like you lose interest in certain things in your life that you once had interest in. I used to like to go out with the girls, have a coffee, have a little gossip. All of a sudden that becomes meaningless to you. I don't want to have coffee and have a little gossip. Why am I engaging in such negative kind of talk? Why am I allowing that to happen? All of a sudden, it's like your interest just shifts. You don't have interest for those things anymore. You might even lose interest in the people, and I'm gonna get to that later. Not only can you lose interest in the things that you once had interest in, but you may also gain new interests. It's like this newfound interest you have within you. And usually it goes across the realm of like, you like to read and learn new things and paint or be in nature, and you just like really appreciate those different aspects to life that you once never probably used to like. Why do all of a sudden like I want to go in the forest and hug a tree or something when before you never ever had any sort of interest in such things? Another huge one, and this is the biggest one in my opinion, your perception of the universe completely just shifts. An example of that is what happened to me. I had major anger issues. I had it for about 10 years, super embarrassed about it. I felt like I tried everything. I could not get rid of my anger. Like I tried so badly. Everything was just always going wrong for me. I've reached to the extent where I did not even want to leave my house anymore. I'm like, why am I going to leave? Issues keep on happening. Like I'll go in the car, there's people like driving like idiots. Like I go to the shop, I'm fighting with the people working there because they're idiots. I was having those problems. Do not get me wrong. Yes, I had my anger issues, but I was actually also having those problems. What happened was, it was just like overnight, like all of a sudden something within my mind like shifted. It like turned around. And all of a sudden, I saw the universe in such a different way. The meaning of the universe completely just changed to me. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. Everything just seems different. With that, my anger dissipated. Like I had no more anger. I became calm. I became collected. Where once I used to have issues with people, like I'd go to the shop and the person working there is not being really nice. All of a sudden, I became compassionate. It's not like something I had to learn over time. It just happened overnight. For you to not be nice to me, you must be going through a lot. Like I wouldn't tell them that, but this is what I would think. You must be going through a lot to not be nice to me. So I'm gonna try to send you healing and loving energy so that your day can get better. Not only that, I started to be nicer to these people. I remember I went to this one place and they had like smoothies. And there was a bit of a line, and I was like trying to understand. It wasn't very clear with what the smoothies had. The guy working there, I kept on asking him, like, yeah, but what's this? Because like I'm intolerant to a lot of stuff, and I wanted to make sure that I really enjoyed my smoothie. He says to me, lady, there's a line behind you. Quickly order your drink. That's his job, right? Like that is his job to do that. But I was thinking, you know what? This is an older man working in a place, serving drinks. He must like not be really happy in his life. He must be struggling. I don't think he just meant to not be nice to me because that is his job, to serve me in the best way possible. So I felt, you know what, he must be going through a lot. I ordered a drink. I said to him, like, you know what, I really hope you have a better day and maybe this will help you. And then I pushed over the $100 tip. This was when I was living in the US. His demeanor just changed. He was just almost on the verge of tears. This guy was like, oh my God, like, thank you so much. He just became from that aggressive kind of person he was to like a little puppy. My intuition was right. Like this guy has been going through a hard time. He doesn't mean to be mean. He probably just saw me as like some spoiled brat, ignoring the people behind me, taking my time ordering a drink. For me, like that was amazing to make this guy's day. Again, this comes about like perceptions changing towards the universe. And because your perception's changing towards the universe, your demeanor also changes. And because your demeanor, your energy changes, the way people deal with you also changes. It's like literally like magic, literally. Like where you start to see you are getting treated differently than you once used to when you were out. One of the struggling ones that people deal with is they feel that people no longer understand them. I mentioned earlier that I would be talking about the people you're around more. Because you have this newfound knowledge and wisdom within yourself, the people you sit with, you feel that you no longer connect with them. The things that they're interested in talking about are things that you no longer have an interest to talk about because you're trying to grow. You feel that you need to work towards that. You feel the need to talk about an awakening and what you're experiencing, but the people around you don't understand. With that being said, I'm going to give a piece of advice here, which is really difficult for people to take when they're going through an awakening. Stop telling people what you're going through. Try to find groups online. Come talk to me. Just literally try to find groups online about people who's also going through an awakening, because those are the only people that are probably going to understand what you're talking about. There are different reasons why you should talk about it with the people around you. First of all, they're probably not ready to receive that message. So if they're not ready to receive that message, they might come back to you with aggression, they might distance themselves, or they might actually just think you're crazy. I have talked to so many people. I've had so many clients that tell me the exact same thing. I cannot share the message because people are thinking I'm crazy, and they're gonna think you're crazy, and there's nothing you can do about it. Before I went through an awakening, when I used to hear people talk about this stuff, like I was like, these people are nuts. Like, just like bonkers. This is how I used to think. It didn't take me long. Like, I remember I was forced into a space of isolation that I moved to an area where I just didn't really get along with the people there. We just had different vibes. I remember like I'd talk to strangers because that's what I was going through my awakening. I tried to talk to them about like the things I'm dealing with. It didn't take me that long actually, but I was like, okay, these people think I'm nuts. I need to chill. Okay, I'm ready enough from here. And I already don't get along with any of the people. I don't need people on top of that to think like I'm a bit of a nut job. So I just like stopped talking about it. And then I started to connect with people online to figure out what I'm dealing with because I needed to relate. I couldn't deal with feeling lonely with what I was dealing with. Like, it just felt like magic. I needed those people. I needed my people where we can talk about it together and we can discuss it together, and they tell me what they've gone through and I tell them what I've gone through, and we're all happy. Another thing through an awakening that people don't talk about that much, you can develop this burst of energy where you can function on 4 hours of sleep. You just have energy throughout the day and night, and you keep on doing things related to your awakening. This is all part of the growth process. I personally felt that I needed to prepare for something. I kept on getting messages, internal messages, hey, you need to prepare for this, you need to prepare for that. And I kept on like reading more and studying more. I didn't know what I was preparing for. And I kept on asking, like, what am I preparing for? And the voice inside of me said, you just need to prepare. Just do what I'm telling you to do, and you're going to get to that level. I just kept on preparing, and I didn't know what was going to happen. Then I think about 6 months later, COVID happened. I was like, okay, that's what I was preparing for, because people are in a state of fear. There's a need for people like me right now where I can get people out of that fear to not develop illnesses, because sometimes you can attract the illness towards you and you can cause more havoc within the world because of the fear. I helped a lot of people deal with it and the stressors of what COVID has caused to a lot of people. That's what I was preparing for at the time. The last point I'm going to talk about is your taste buds. If you're someone who used to enjoy a lot of junk food, all of a sudden you might feel like, I need to eat more fresh produce, I need to be more healthy, I need to change my diet around, and you start to eat more leafy greens like fruits, vegetables, and just lean, clean food. Another thing is for some meat eaters or meat lovers, all of a sudden it's like their taste buds change. They find it revolting and they can no longer eat it. A lot of them turn into vegetarians, and a lot of them really start to think about the suffering of these animals and what happens to them and what they need to do to stop as much suffering as they can, and therefore they decide to stop eating meat. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. This was my second attempt at this video again. I'm happy to do anything for you guys. It's done, it's collected. I hope the message got through to you. If there's anything else you'd like me to talk about, let me know. I'll get on it. This was also requested by a lot of people actually. They were wondering like what they were going through when they're going through an awakening. Hope it helped you. If you have any questions, feel free to DM me and add me on Instagram, Nadia_Omnia, where I put a lot of content that I do not share on YouTube, and vice versa. See you next time.